Hi guys, I'm Connor from S2AS Sports. We are a board sports retailer based in Poole in the UK, specialising in snowboarding, wakeboarding and kite surfing. I imagine you've seen some of our videos before, normally feature specific products, and we're going through product reviews and different sort of products and going through the features on them. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different today and explain how to buy a snowboard. Is this the first time you're buying a snowboard or the third time? Sort of the three main things that you want to look for and how you go about finding out whether a snowboard's right for you. So those three main things that I mentioned when you want to buy a snowboard are: what level is the snowboard at, to know whether it's going to be right for you, whether you're a beginner, whether you're an advanced rider, whereabout it sits. You want to know what sort of riding you're going to do. Some snowboards are obviously better at some things than they are at others, and you want to suit your style of riding. And then lastly, you want to know what size snowboard you're going to go for. So in this video, I'm going to go through all those three things and a couple of other bits, just so you can get the right snowboard to suit you. To start off, what level of rider are you? If you look at like international snowboard instructor qualifications and things like that, things done by Cassie, Basie, New Zealand one I can't remember the name of, they have 5 different classifications for the riding levels of snowboarders, and that's how they're categorized on our website and how you find them most ways throughout the world. So they are beginner, novice, intermediate, advanced and expert, in that order. So a beginner rider goes from anything from never even looked at a snowboard before to sort of just about past your lessons. You can get down a green run, C-shaped turns, nothing too sort of tricky, but you're there, sort of anything from fallen leaf and through. A novice level rider, you're going to say green runs, S-shaped turns, confidently getting down those greens. You're thinking about popping on the board, maybe introducing a little bit of freestyle on your riding. You're just sort of getting down blue runs. It's not amazing, but you're getting to the bottom without falling over too much. Intermediate level riders, well, that's quite a big classification. That's blue runs, red runs, maybe the odd black thrown in there, not well, but sort of getting down. You can go into the park, you're not doing anything crazy. You're confident, just sort of trying to pop off little side hits, maybe you're doing little 180s. You're introducing carving turns, so you're using the edges of the snowboard to bring you down the mountain. And then you go into advanced level riding. So advanced level riding is confidently integrating those sliding turns with carving turns as and when the terrain demands it. It's being able to go through the park, like, I don't know, board slides onto rails, spins off large kickers. So you're looking at like 360s, maybe 540s, things like that. You're confidently getting around the whole mountain. And then lastly, you've got expert level riders. Now, expert level rider is the whole mountain as your playground. You confidently kill black runs, like, I don't know, XL liner kickers. You can be throwing big tricks off those. And I'm not saying you have to be able to do all of these things. Maybe it's just one of these categories that you fit into, but that brings us into the next bit. It's also worth bearing in mind that not all snowboards are like, obviously I said sort of novice level riders. I don't want anyone looking at it going, oh, this board's just a novice board, I'm slightly intermediate, then that's not rightly suited to me. All boards on the market will fit across categories. So you'll generally have like beginner to intermediate boards, novice to advanced, intermediate to expert. And loads of those boards will suit across those different abilities. And it's just knowing what's right to fit in for how you're going to ride and where your riding's at currently. So the second thing when you're buying a snowboard is you need to know what style of snowboarding you're going to be doing. So there are 3 main styles of snowboarding. This isn't a complete list. I don't want anyone commenting below being like, you didn't mention border cross or something like that. This is just the main 3 general branches of snowboarding, and they're free ride, all mountain and freestyle. So I'll start with free ride. Free ride is about like downhill, speed and powder. Within free ride, there's sort of 2 separate categories. You've got carving and you've got powder. So you've got like carving specific boards and then powder boards. So you'll generally have, with a free ride board, it's going to be a directional shape, tapered. You might have things like swallowtails on them, Things that are going to give you a larger side cut, maybe more volume, so you're going to have more float in the power. That doesn't necessarily mean a bigger board. There's a lot of boards now on the market which are shorter and wider, giving you more float, but allowing you to turn quicker in and out the trees where there's often a lot of good powder. Things like the Battalion Party Wave, or maybe you're looking at really sort of big shape boards that are designed for that sort of carving and also give you a load of float, maybe like a Never Summer Big Gun, something like that. But there are sort of boards that are specifically good at carving, boards that are specifically good at riding powder, and then there's ones that meet across in the middle that you're more sort of generic free ride. And then from that we can go to all mountain riding. And all mountain is a little bit of a wish-wash because it kind of, you can have all mountain free ride, you can have all mountain freestyle. You can kind of figure that out based on the description and what I'm saying that all mountain is. Now I'll explain obviously freestyle as well. So all mountain is what it says, it's the whole mountain. It's groomed piste runs, it's little bits off the sides, it's maybe some powder, it's maybe cutting in through the park. You're going to look at generally like almost twin shapes, that sort of 99% twin shape, directional twin you get them called as well. So things like this, the Camber DOA, it's an amazing example of an all mountain board. Something like the Battalion Goliath. These are boards that are just suited to really versatile riding. If you want to do a little bit of everything, to be honest, it's where 90% of the riders sit on the market. If you're going to do most of your riding sort of in resort, in the groomed runs, but you want to have a little play, like say cut through the park, ride down some powder off the sides, little bit this and that. And then from the last category, you've got freestyle. Like free rider breaks in sort of two categories. You've got your more like park jump orientated, and then jib, which is your rails and boxes. So freestyle boards will tend to be a little bit shorter than the likes of all mountain. You're always going to go for a true twin generally because it's just as easy to ride switch, come out of your tricks switch, or when you're going to be landing like 180s, 540s, things like that, or you're going to be doing like 270 on board slides and stuff. So with a freestyle board, like I say, it's about, you have slightly bigger ones, they're generally a slightly softer flex pattern and makes them more forgiving. Ideal for obviously riding rails and hitting those big kickers in the park. Lastly, what you want to look at is sizing. You know what level you are and you know what style of snowboarding you like to do. You've got a good idea of the board that you want to buy, you want to ride. How do you size it? Back in the day, or if you still go and get like rental boards, someone will look at you and go, you're this tall, and the general thing is it's somewhere between like your chin and your nose, which is an old school way of doing it and actually is a load of rubbish. The way that you size a snowboard is based off your weight. Your weight is the amount of power that you can put through the board, and then it determines what size board is going to give you the right amount of float and be able to turn more effectively. Height does come into it a little bit. Height obviously determines your stance width and how you like to stand, depending on your style maybe. But you want to know that you've got enough board either end of you that it's going to give you the right amount of support. Obviously I can't run through every single size for every single weight, but on this video there should be a link to our buyer's guide, and on that page there is a table which goes through different sizes and what size is applicable for your weight. But you need to bear in mind that that table is for all mountain riding. So for freestyle riding, you generally want to go a little bit smaller, so you've got better swing rate for when you're doing spins. And then for free ride boards, generally you want to go a little bit bigger, but that's not always true, because as I said, sometimes you get those short wide boards. So sort of use that as a guidepost and then sort of go from there based on your style. It is also worth mentioning wide boards. Wide boards are brought out for people with bigger feet. Generally we say sort of UK 11 and up. What that is, they just make the width or the waist width of the board that little bit bigger so you don't get any heel or toe drag. If you're ever unsure about like whether you need a wide board or not, the best thing you can do is just get in touch with us, drop a comment or pick up the phone, something like that. So hopefully those three main things have helped you guys pick out what sort of size, what style and what level of board is right for you. There are a couple of other little things that I just want to run through. The first one would be women's snowboards. So women's snowboards are generally made smaller with a softer flex pattern, because women aren't generally as heavy, and they also have a narrower waist width which usually accommodates up to a UK size 7 boot. It's not too much to worry about, but if you are generally of less weight or a woman or have smaller feet, it's often worth considering a women's board. But if you have, again, look at the sort of size chart and see where you sit and whether that would be right for you. So you will also see on a lot of our product review videos and a lot of our descriptions for snowboards, we often talk about camber profiles. And camber profiles are quite important, but it's worth bearing in mind that those camber profiles are often determined based on the style of riding. So if the board's described as an all-mountain board, the camber profile for it will be suited to all-mountain riding. So it's not something to worry about too much, but I want to run you through a brief description of what they are, so you're not like thrown with information and you don't understand what it means. So the traditional way of shaping a snowboard was almost, if you can imagine, like a frowny face. What that is, that's normally described as positive camber or traditional camber. It's got a lot of performance and it's quite aggressive riding. We also find that it's quite catchy. And then about 10-15 years back, people introduced rocker or reverse camber, which is the exact opposite. It sort of rockers up that way and it gives you a little bit more float and makes it much more forgiving to ride. You'll generally find rocker boards in beginner level boards or freestyle, particularly jib boards, because they're very catch free. And then about a couple of years after that, people started looking at doing hybrid cambers. Hybrid cambers, as you can imagine, is a combination of the two. There's loads of variations on that. There's like original rocker camber from Never Summer. You've got Camrock from Yes. Capita do loads. This one, I think, is their V1 Resort powder. And what it is just combining the best elements of rocker and camber. So you normally get like a rocker at the ends of the board and then camber between your feet. So you get that performance and that drive, but it takes away the catchiness at the ends. And then lastly, there's 3D profiling, which is made most famous by Battalion snowboards with their triple base technology, which is a natural camber shape, but with a three-dimensional, 3-layer profiling on the nose and the tail. It does a similar job to what you find in hybrid cambers. You still got that natural performance of the camber, but the catch-free characteristics of rocker, along with that additional float in the powder. So if all that sort of blown your mind, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Like I said, different cambers are suited to different styles of riding. So if you're looking at a free ride board and you don't really understand what the camber profile is, don't worry about it too much, because obviously that camber profile is designed for the free ride board. So it just makes sense. But I just thought I'd run through it just so you could like get your head around it. Lastly, the other technical feature that I wanted to run through that you hear about in a lot of the videos, or you'll see in a lot of descriptions, is base materials. So there's two main different types of base that you get on a snowboard. You get extruded bases and sintered bases. Extruded bases, so just start off, all bases are made out of a material called P-Tex, because it glides really well, it's quite easy to repair, it absorbs wax, it's wonderful. I can't actually remember what P-Tex is, it's some polycarbonate nonsense. But extruded bases are generally a one sheet of P-Tex that is glued and pressed to the bottom of the snowboard. It generally is really durable. It's very easy to repair, so you'll normally find it on more sort of freestyle orientated boards or your beginner end of the spectrum, because it's a little bit cheaper to manufacture. But like I say, it's really easy to repair, which makes it really good if you're going to be digging your board up quite a lot. And then the other main sort of base is what's called sintered. Now, sintered bases are made up of P-Tex that's ground down into a really fine dust, and then it's heated and compressed to the base of the snowboard. So sintered bases are actually a little bit more durable than extruded bases, but they are slightly more difficult to repair, and they run faster. When I say they run faster, what I mean is they have a greater acceleration to them. Once you get up to speed, sintered and extruded will pretty much run at the same sort of speeds, but that sintered base has got that initial whip of acceleration. It's really good in your sort of your high-end freestyle boards, so when you're charging down onto kickers, and it's really good in like free ride boards where you need that extra oomph of like speed when you're coming down like just ridiculous terrain. And so I hope that helps explain that as well. I hope this video has been helpful. Like I say, we do a lot of videos on like actual content and product reviews. and I wanted to do a video to help you guys make sure that you're buying the right snowboards to suit your ability and your styles of riding. If you have got any questions, obviously drop them in the comments below, give us a call in store, the number should be on the screen now, and underneath this video there will be a link to our buyer's guide on our website, S2AS.com, which should have more sort of thorough descriptions of the things that I've gone through today, as well as that chart that I mentioned, so you can figure out what size snowboard you need based on your weight. Like I say, I'm Connor from S2AS. We're a board sports store based in Poole in the UK, and we specialise in snowboarding, wakeboarding and kitesurfing. Thank you.